everyone, my name is Luna and I'm here to break down everything that happened in the finale of Campaign 3, episode 121, A New Age Begins. I cannot believe that we are finally here at the end after 3 years. When I made my first Campaign 3 video back in October 2021, I never could have dreamed how much this channel and all of you would change my life. Which leads me to a little bit of an announcement. I quit my day job. That's right, making these videos is now my only job. This is fine. However, I didn't quit my job to become a full-time content creator. That is a really hard road and definitely not one I think I could walk without burning out massively again. I've actually gone back to school this year to study stage management for theatre, which I'm so excited about. I have a really long history in performance and the arts, and I'm just excited to return to the backstage. However, do not worry, I will still be making videos for Divergence and Campaign 4 and whatever else comes next, and I will be really relying on your support to keep the lights on around here. There are a number of ways you can support the channel. The easiest way is to watch, like, and comment on my videos, and of course subscribe if you haven't already done so. And a massive thing you can do is share my videos with any of your critter friends or critter groups that you're in. I would really love to become a kind of one-stop shop for Campaign 4, so helping get the word out would be amazing. And if you haven't already jumped in there, you can also jump into my Discord where we have a bunch of critter channels, and it's a good way to keep up with what I'm doing, and it's just like a really fun space. If you would like to support the channel financially and you have the means to do so, I do have a Patreon. A huge shout out to my patrons and welcome to new patrons Lan, El Mudrock, DM Rotach, Adam R, and Dallas Valentine. You can sign up for $2, $5, or $10 a month. The $5 and up tiers get you some behind the scenes posts as well as bonus videos. This week I'm putting out a bonus video about note taking for D&D and how I approach it, which should be fun and hopefully helpful. You can also, if you prefer, make a one-time donation to my Ko-fi. I am so grateful to all of you for joining me as we, obsess over and theorize about Bell's Hells and their adventures. I literally could not have made this massive life change without you. And, as I said, you and Bell's Hells have just completely changed my life for the better. So whether you've been here since the beginning and my shitty green screen work, or you've just joined recently, thank you so much. Okay, I didn't cry saying all that, but I feel like I am going to cry at some point in this video, so let's get into it. One last quick thing though, I will be breaking down Campaign 1 and Campaign 2 connections, so here is just kind of a blanket spoiler warning. We return at the top of the episode not to Bell's Hells, but instead to the Mighty Nine, who have been searching for them in the core of Ruidus after Caleb received Imogen's message asking for help. As they travel, Veth examines the fungus-lined walls of the caverns and notices that there is something else, some other kind of fungus or creature growing within it, or boning, as Jester puts it. This is clearly the All Minds Burn, slowly growing. Oh, actually, I guess it's not that slow because it's only been a couple of hours. I guess it's growing quite quickly. But it seems to have melded with the fungal being of Ruidus, and, who knows what ramifications this might have on the ecology of Ruidus. Honestly, though, since the All Minds Burn has a sort of hive mind effect on those who imbibe it, it might feel quite at home here, where the population can psychically communicate and connect to one another. Caleb then receives a message from his partner Essek, summoning him back to Vasselheim before he remembers. Liam says that he has a sending stone to contact Orym, who tells him that they are now safe in Vasselheim. We then cut over to Castle Whitestone to the morning after Vox Machina returned there with Vax. Keyleth is woken by a message from Allura asking Vox Machina to also come to Vasselheim. Keyleth is alone in her bed, and as we find out later, she actually left the group last night and went to bed alone without even really speaking to Vax. This absolutely broke my heart, and I think it's because Keyleth just couldn't face Vax being back for one day and then taken from her again. It's just so heart-wrenching. At first I was really disappointed that there was this time cut to the morning and we didn't get to see Vax's night of respite with his friends, but now that I've seen the whole episode, I think it makes sense that they would want to kind of save some of that for what happens later, which we will get to. Meanwhile, as Keyleth is gathering the others, Scanlan and Sokonos have been picking up some trinket bear claws, which is a recipe that you can actually get in the Critical Role cookbook. I haven't yet made it myself, it's on my list. But they're picking those up from the Slayer's Cake, a bakery in Whitestone that was founded by Tarion, Keyleth, Vex, and Pike. The two discuss Sokonos' attempts to woo Leavetel.
When you have time, I have a small list of jokes, puns, and quips I'd like to run by you for future endeavors.
It's always good to prep them ahead of time. That really makes them really feel off the cuff.
Yes, thank you. I'll explain them to you. They're funnier when you explain them.
Okay, sure, we'll work on your delivery. But...
Scanlan suggests Sokonos should do some spice to loosen up a little, and he agrees that maybe he'll give it a try later. The group all meet up and Keyleth relays Alura's message, and it's really clear that she's trying to remain upbeat and positive despite the emotional turmoil that she is experiencing. Pike hugs her and asks her if she's okay. Keyleth replies that, yes, she's okay. She's always okay. Damn it, Keyleth, you're so strong and stoic and brave and beautiful. Before they leave, Keyleth suggests after this they should organise another group holiday to Dalen's Closet, a beach resort the party have visited before, and the place where Percy and Vex were married. We move back over to Bellshells in Vasselheim as they head towards the base of the Heaven's Stair, escorted by a troop of soldiers who keep their weapons trained on them, mistrustful of them and their intentions. As they walk, Fern, through her Ruidus-born connection to Imogen, can sense that Predathos is slowly regaining its strength and they don't have a lot of time. They arrive at the base where there is a huge gathering of people all waiting with bated breath to see what happens now. High Bearer Vord addresses the group, asking if they work for Predathos since they have brought it here to Exandria and what their plan is. Imogen says that there's no time to explain, but that they are trying to help, and Laudna says that they need to speak with the gods as soon as possible. Tensions grow and Orym steps protectively in front of Imogen, but another figure arrives to protect them. One of the Coven of the Black Veil casts a black bead onto the ground, which explodes into the shadowy black shape of the Matron of Ravens, which billows out and surrounds Bellshells.
They carry the egg that would eat all. But they do so at the behest of all of our futures. They are here with my protection, and I would ask all of yours. For as it was said, there is not much time.
As she speaks, the world around Bellshells seems to fade away, and they begin to see the shapes of the gods drawing close, a council of the divine summoned by the matron to hear Bellshells' proposal. The Dawnfather asks why the matron has summoned them, and she asks Imogen to show them Predathos. Letting her guard down a little, she lets it come to the surface, and the gods all pull back in fear, and for a moment they flare back into their original forms, the forms made of pure light that we saw in Tengar at the beginning of Downfall. Of course, many of the gods want to smite Imogen right then and there, but the Everlight intervenes, telling the council to let them speak. Imogen explains what she saw within the void of Predathos and how she could feel its hunger for the gods, but how she couldn't see mortals. She makes her proposal that the gods should join their children and become mortal, and if they don't, run. The matron elaborates, saying that she has created the rite of catotheosis, which will make the gods mortal, reborn into new babies on Exandria. Now, I believe catotheosis is a made-up word, at least from my Googling, but it's not hard to see that it is meant to be the opposite of apotheosis, which is the elevation of someone to divine status. This proposal, unsurprisingly, causes quite a stir among the gods, with many dismissing this plan in anger or disbelief. And mechanically, we find out that this meeting is a skill challenge, with the group needing to pass a certain number of checks to convince the gods. Laura rolls a nat 1 for Imogen, but thankfully, since she's standing next to Orym, she re-rolls and gets a 25. The Everlight says she wouldn't mind becoming a mortal again, as she did during the events of Downfall. She expresses concern, however, for what would happen to the gods' domains and their realms without them to oversee them. The matron responds that their realms would likely fade and the Eidolon cycle of rebirth would begin again. With everything that we know now about how the gods imposed their sort of own afterlives on this world, I think it's pretty clear that the Luxon was the one who initiated this cycle of rebirth before it was scattered into its beacons, confirming the Kryn's creation myth that the Luxon came to Exandria when it was dead and lifeless and sparked life, which then became the Eidolons and the Primordials. And when they began to fight and kill each other, the Luxon began this cycle of rebirth so that their souls would not be lost, and so that through that rebirth they could learn and better themselves. Without the gods here imposing their own afterlives, that cycle of rebirth can begin again. Orym steps forward, addressing the council about how no matter what the gods do, there have always been mortals who've tried to rise up and bring them down.
History is littered with mortals trying to ascend and pull you down from your place and take your thrones. But if any of you love this world and its children as you claim to do, and walk amongst its people. Live with us. There will no longer be any need to tear the gods down from the sky. No wars between gods and mortals. Equilibrium.
Liam rolls a 22 for this check. The Platinum Dragon comes forward asking what the rite of Catotheosis would do to Vecna, who has been flitting about this meeting in the shadows, or the Whispered One.
All truths are mutable in time. All mysteries a problem to solve. The knowing mistress speaks up in response. Indeed. And in time we shall solve you once more.
The Whispered One was a lich who ascended to godhood during the events of Campaign 1, but he was locked into a separate plane behind the Divine Gate. The gods may have reluctantly accepted the matron as a mortal who ascended, but they certainly have not accepted Vecna. Imogen suggests that the gods just don't include him in the rite and let him get eaten by Predathos, but the matron says it doesn't work like that, and if he wants to become mortal, he can, or he can run. The Allhammer then asks what will happen to the Chained Oblivion. The Chained Oblivion is an entity that is not a god. It's sort of on the outskirts of it. It's sort of this alien eldritch horror which the gods chained during the Calamity. It was a battle in which the Knowing Mentor was grievously wounded. The matron says the rite will not affect the Oblivion's chains, and many of the gods, both primes and betrayers alike, are relieved. Asmodeus steps forward, speaking about how this proposal is unacceptable and it would be a curse on all of them. However, at the same time, he jumps into Breus' mind to have a conversation with him. He tells Breus that he has done well and he should seek him out to be rewarded, and that together they can punish the others for eternity. Breus suggests to the Lord that he could take this as an opportunity to reconnect with his family.
Might I suggest that this is an opportunity for you? Just as fate delivered me to you, I feel like it might have delivered me to these people. I've always sought a family, and I sought it in your hells. But I found another hells. And they're pretty cool. When I promised you I would betray them, I guess I lied.
Fire.
You've given me great wisdom and advice. I guess my last prayer is that you would listen to ours and accept the offer and find your family again.
The Lord concedes that this is a good point, and I don't know, I tell you, Breus is lucky that he didn't end up like the last person who showed some empathy or some resistance to the Lord of the Hells, but I guess he did roll a 27 on his persuasion check. Later though, as Asmodeus prepares to leave his realm, we see that perhaps he is not so forgiving of Breus.
I'm inside your soul. My hooks are there. I'm going nowhere, and I'll be back. And in that time, I'll haunt your dreams. I'll be at the edge of every vision. My agents will always be waiting, and I will find you!
Ah, there's the Lord of the Hells we all know and love. Gee, I'd hate to be the parents of whichever kid, he's gonna come back as. Like, parenting is hard enough without, raising the literal Lord of the Hells. Laudna then addresses the Pantheon, telling them that if they did step down from their divinity, it wouldn't necessarily mean an end to their memory, calling on her own experience, having died and been brought back again by her friends, and pointing to the city of Vasselheim as proof that their memories will live on.
In those times where you may not be able to represent your domain, your pillars, you will have others. You have taught your children well.
Despite this incredible speech, Marisha only rolls a 9. Fern chimes in, pointing out all the things that she's done in her life, and if she can do all of those things, they too can experience a rich and full life. She looks to the Everlight, pointing out how she fell in love, and tells the gods that they have forgotten they are a family, and that once they are mortal, they can find each other and be a family again. Ashley rolls a 25 for her check. Imogen tails off of this, pointing out how fun and exciting it would be for them to all to try and find each other and, to meet someone new and to have those new experiences. Dorian jumps into this, pulling out some dice and beginning to juggle, telling them that the fun in life is that you don't know what is going to happen. A new concept for all-knowing beings. And not only that, he points out how freeing and fun it will be for them to not have the responsibility of a god. Kind of like what happened with the Traveler, where he was like, I want to be a god, and then all of a sudden all these people were praying to him and he was like, oh, actually, I actually don't want to be a god anymore. The Archheart agrees that it would be refreshing to mix things up after all these centuries. The Scaled Tyrant, however, is not convinced and leans down with its 5 heads and says they should just eat them, which sets off Ashton, saying that the gods are hiding behind their divine gate.
You fucking coward. Why don't you come down here and find out which of you is lying to yourselves about what you think of us and what you'd want to do. I've seen plenty of it. I have heard those intimate little conversations that a few of you had in Aor. Every fucking word. I don't believe you. You might believe you. Put your money where your fucking mouth is. All fucking 5 of them.
I love Ashton for this, and I also loved Robbie's reaction because I think that mirrored my own. I was like, oh no! But I really like this perspective. I think what Ashton is saying is that when they are mortals and they have the same fears and worries as other mortals do, will they actually still believe these perceptions that they have of the mortals now? Because, of course, perspective changes a lot. If you can walk in someone else's shoes, it can fundamentally change you. Ashton rolls a 24 and luckily does not get eaten by one of these Scaled Tyrants of 5 heads. Lastly, the Moonweaver calls on Chetney, asking him to speak, and he agrees with Ashton.
There is a lot of cowardice around here. I assume it's just fear from the unknown. The next great adventure, whatever that could be. You guys should be excited about this. It's a chance to really mix things up. We don't fear death. Well, I think some of us do. Only because we know the people that would be left behind would miss us. I would only miss them. And we had to face that fear. We came out on top.
He challenges the gods to take a chance on life and see if they can make it to his record of 400 years. Unfortunately, though, like Marisha, Travis also only rolls a 9, which I think is a travesty because, I don't know, this speech really got to me. I've certainly not come to terms with my own mortality, but the older I get, the more sort of I have to think about it, in terms of my older relatives and like having a kid and figuring out how he'll be cared for if something happens to me, like God forbid, or, this idea of mortality is such a big, scary thing. But it also, as Chetney points out, is what makes life beautiful because it is about the people. And, when I think back to when we first met this crazy old man in episode 7.
Who is that?
Oh, no.
Who's speaking, please?
It's, oh no.
Oh, no.
And I just wave over here.
He felt a bit like a joke character compared to now when I just love Chetney so much and I feel like he's been such a pillar for the group in just so many ways. With everyone having pitched their case, the gods begin to converse in discordant tones above the group who can't understand or hear what they're saying. Matt announces that someone has to make one final check, a check with a DC of 30, and for every point below 30, one of the Pantheon will not partake in the rite of catotheosis. Imogen, assisted by an enhanced ability spell from Fern, tells them that they better make their choice soon because she's getting hungry.
So she's got to roll a 13 to get all of them.
Wait,
Yeah.
we should funnel our energy into you with a
Okay.
little let chaos random.
Yeah, let chaos random.
while you're
Ready?
doubling the dice.
Okay.
This is just a
Okay,
this is the
ready?
Pantheon.
I'm going double
This
time.
is the
Yeah,
this
thank
is
you.
this is a critical role.
Are they both
They're
cocked?
both cocked?
Do it on the table. Do it on the table.
Oh my god.
No.
Let's go.
Sometimes Sometimes the dice know how to tell a damn good story. I already know I'm going to get people commenting about how both dice were conveniently cocked. But, you know, anyone who has rolled dice in a crowded tray knows that that can happen, which is why then she then rolled them out of the tray. I don't know. This is just going to be one of those moments that goes down in Critical Role history. It was just truly so fitting and so incredible. I also love the callback to, you know, Let Chaos Reign, which is a Campaign 2 throwback. It was like kind of a greeting or cheer from TravelerCon. And, you know, there was like a lot of dick-themed stuff happening at TravelerCon, hence the... Anyway, back to the episode. But before we move on, actually, I have to give Matthew Mercer a round of applause for this whole scene. I think he did such an incredible job of jumping between all these different deities in a way that felt very natural. And it was cool that we got to hear from a few that we haven't really seen all that much of in campaigns, like the Scaled Tyrant and the Moonweaver. And I don't know, I also just really enjoyed his imitation of Abu Bakr's portrayal of the Archheart. I struggle playing one NPC in a scene in my games, let alone running a council with 20 of them. He truly is a master. So, the gods have made their decision. Bel's hells are returned to Vasselheim, and with a huge crack, the lattice work of the Divine Gate appears in the sky and begins to crack and crumble, breaking away, letting the gods return to Exandria for the first time in over 1,000 years. The matron physically crawls out of the ground, human size and small, and she begins the rite of catotheosis. But to complete it, she needs the power of the Luxon. She needs a beacon. She reaches to the Bright Queen asking for one, but the Bright Queen resists and pulls away. You know, the Kryn dynasty have never worshipped the Pantheon, and they guard their beacons very closely. Not even the presence of the matron right here can compel the Bright Queen to lose her resolve. So the matron looks out to the crowd, and instead, Ashton steps forward.
I'll do it.
I don't know.
Wait, are you...
Yeah.
Oh, shit!
Wait, Ashton.
It's all right. This is good.
What will it do to them?
Wait. You're gonna start being
Spoilers.
selfless now?
Oh. I go over and I give Chetney a very uncomfortable hug and I make it hurt. I love you, old man. And you've never understood me. And I'm gonna walk forward.
She takes your hand and lifts you off your feet. Places both of her hands around you, almost like you are the core of a prayer position.
Ashton.
This is good. Is it
You're
goodbye?
good.
This is why I'm here.
You're a good person, Ashton.
I know. I am. I know I was looking for way too long. I am Ashton Greymore of Bassaris, and I am nobody's child. Not the gods, not anybody. Let's go for it.
Wait. I'm just gonna run over really quick and give him a hug. You're so wonderful. And I'm very proud of you.
This has been the best time of my life.
Me too.
And, we'll see how it goes. I'll try and miss it.
Okay.
I love you, and I love you all very much. Fuck, now I'm embarrassed. Let's just get this over with.
We love you.
That's all I needed.
Go get him.
The matron begins to cast the ritual, sending Ashton high up into the sky, up into the atmosphere amidst a web of arcane power and equations streaking across the sky. As the gods in their huge forms begin to appear in the sky and approach Vasselheim, the matron removes her mask, showing the face of the mortal she once was, and she tells the crowd, "We will return." Light begins to burn brightly in the sky, and a discordant music rises.
Time, presence, matter, philosophy, concept, existence, all seems to almost fold into one moment, as in the core of this equation. This old, forbidden, fractured rite made new, made strange, made hopeful. There is a flash of gray, a flash of Greymore. And in a blink, It's all gone. She's gone. The storm's gone. The rumbling's gone. The lattice is gone. Just the blue sky above.
It's been a couple of days now, but I just get really choked up thinking about and talking about this moment. I was an absolute wreck when I watched it for the first time, as you can see here. You know, for Ashton, the person who holds no love for the gods, who has felt abandoned by them and everyone, you know, Ashton, who has lived in constant pain their whole life and self-sabotaged and hurt their friends and cared for them and protected them because family is everything. For Ashton to give themselves up in this way and to use their body in this way, you know, we saw them attempt something like this with the fire shard. You know, he truly thought attempting to take it in despite the risk was the right thing to do, you know, to make amends and to become something. And to have lived through that experience and to admit that it was wrong and to still have the courage to do this. If Ashton has no fans in this world, it's because I'm dead. As the people around them react in shock and awe and horror at what has happened, Orym spots Ashton's body falling at terminal velocity from the atmosphere. The group frantically try to catch him, with Imogen flying into the sky and Fern wild shaping into a giant shoebill, but he's falling so fast that they can't intercept him fast enough. Orym, who's been riding shoebill Fern, manages to catch the edge of his clothes, slowing him just enough, at the expense of dislocating his shoulder, for Chetney to use the Staff of Dark Odyssey to cast Banishment. They realise, though, that when the 1 minute banishment is up, Ashton will reappear in the air and just begin falling again, but luckily it is at this time that the Mighty Nine and Vox Machina arrive, and when Ashton does reappear, Caleb casts telekinesis to catch them and slowly bring them back to the ground. Orym runs to them, cradling them and calling them their rock, but Ashton is dead. The space in his head where the Dunamantic glass was is empty and carved out. Pike runs up and casts Resurrection, but it doesn't work. Not because Pike is not able to access her powers without the Everlight, she still feels the power there, but because there is some element of the spell that just isn't working with Ashton. Caleb tries to cast Raise the Dead with his Transmuter's Stone, but again, it doesn't work. The group realize that they need some dunamancy, and Fern calls to the Bright Queen for a beacon, but of course she refuses. Laudna then calls to Essek, who is here disguised as Seth, for a dunamancy potion, but instead he places his hands over Caleb's and funnels the dunamantic power into the stone, allowing Caleb to successfully cast the Raise Dead spell.
Damn it, FCG.
Hey.
Am I dead? Because if I am, this is really a disappointment. No.
See?
No. 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 You're okay. You're okay. I want to sleep for now. You get to do that.
The space where the glass was in Ashton's head is now filled with Caleb's transmutation stone, as well as flaking crystalline glass. You know, it's not fully healed, but it is enough. Unfortunately, the blast of magic that occurred when he was revived blasted back Essek, causing his disguised self to drop, revealing his true form. This is actually disastrous for him, as, for some background, Essek is actually a fugitive of the Kryn dynasty. In Campaign 2, there was a war between the Kryn dynasty and the Dwendalian Empire called the War of Ashen Light, which broke out due to 2 of the Kryn's beacons being stolen by the Empire. It was revealed in Campaign 2 that Essek is the one who handed over those 2 beacons to the Empire because he felt stifled by the dynasty in regards to his research of dunamancy. You know, he had like a much less religious view of the beacons and felt there was a lot more to discover, and felt that the Cerberus Assembly could be the ones to help facilitate that research and discovery. Naturally, the situation was very complex, but ultimately he and Caleb wound up together, and he's been in hiding from the dynasty ever since. So to have his form revealed and his connection to the Mighty Nine just made so apparent is pretty bad. Essek, evading a counterspell from a Kryn guard, teleports away, and the Bright Queen turns away, telling Ashton and Caleb that they have business later. As they surround Ashton, the group look to Imogen, who says that Predathos is waking up more and more, and she thinks it's time to release it. Dorian expresses some concern about it, then just going off to eat the gods of other worlds, but ultimately agrees that they just can't contain it forever. They decide to go to the top of the Heaven Stair to release it, and once there, Laudna takes Imogen's hand as she looks inward to Predathos. She sees that soft teal light, the same one as when they first encountered it.
I'm so hungry.
I know. There's nothing for you here.
Why?
All your food went away.
I've been gone so long. I'm sorry. I know.
As Predathos roils in anger, it threatens to tear Imogen apart from the inside, but she manages to hold onto herself and to funnel it out. It pours out of her in this billowing smoke, forming a massive storm in the sky, searching for the gods until it drifts up and into the stars, leaving Exandria behind. Predathos is gone, the gods are gone, and the world is changed forever. We then go back in time briefly to the Matron of Raven's realm. She summons her champion, Vax'ildan, as well as Morrigan Ferris, played by Erica Lindbeck. Morrigan is a newly made paladin of the Raven Queen following the events of EXU Kaimal and Episode 93, Bittersweet Reunions. The Matron tells them how the gods are stepping down and how she will be reborn on Exandria. She says that they will both need to serve in her absence and to come and find her in every cycle. Morrigan is quite excited by this.
I promise I will find you and I will defend you with my life.
You are now joined with Vax'ildan as warden to my realm.
Like a real champion. Wow.
But Vax is unsure. He's not used to having anyone else to serve with. He asks the matron what to do without her, and she encourages him to share his burdens with Morrigan and also gives him permission to enjoy his time on Exandria. She explains that they will both remain unaging, however they will be alive and of the mortal realm.
You feel what was long a still and silent heartbeat. Beat for the first time in decades. Take a fragment of your life back. There is more than your duty now. You've shown me your true, loyal self. But you are loyal to many, and I've held you as my own greedily for too long.
His face holds stoic, but his eyes glisten for the first time in many an age.
Come find me. And in the times where you need to rest, where you need to lean, go to them. Go to her.
Morrigan tells Vax that she can help him and be there for him, and Vax says he thinks they will be good friends. Back in Vasselheim, Deanna, played by Abria Iyengar, is granted an audience with her god, the Dawnfather. She asks what is happening, and he explains that the gods are leaving to become mortal, and as he does so, his armor falls and he stands before her as a much simpler figure in robes, and she embraces him in a hug. She tells him it's going to be okay and bids him to find people to love, because it's the people who make it worth it. She apologizes for what she said the last time she communed with him.
It was very cruel to you when I asked you if you were worth saving. You can't save everyone, but everyone is worth saving.
I remember this feeling. I remember it now. It has been a time. And you feel him start to, diminish.
She asks where he will be reborn, but he replies that he has no idea, and that is exciting. The Dawnfather fades, and she returns to Vasselheim, where the citizens are reeling at what has happened. Frida, played by Christian Navarro, is standing with her, and they both spot Ashton plummeting from the sky. They hurry towards the scene, learning that Bell's Hells are heading up the Heaven's Stair, and they follow and then reunite with their friends. It's a pretty happy reunion, but it's also bittersweet, as Frida tells them that they knew FCG was gone, that they felt it happening. Bell's Hells apologize for not reaching out sooner, but just things have been so wild. The group catch up, with Deanna noticing that the ring she gave Chetney is gone, and when she learns that he gave it away, she backhands him before admitting that she is glad that it's saved Ashton's life. Deanna also spots Breas and is immediately flirty. Honestly, I think Abria was just trying to flirt with as many people as possible in this final episode. As the group catch up, Dorian wonders what happens now to the champions of the gods, thinking of Opal. Fern decides to summon Tevin Klask, champion of Asmodeus, to ask him. He tells her that their lord is gone, but he will return and they will continue to serve him while they search. Tevin tells Fern that they are bound together forever, so he will be calling on her in the future. As he vanishes, the black mark on her hand expands and grows into dark, hellish runes all across her hand. Before they get a chance to discuss this development, Orym hears the sounds of soldiers coming up the mountain. They are led by High Bearer Vord with their sword out and pointed toward Imogen. They are angry and upset, demanding to know if Predathos is gone or is still within Imogen. Tensions grow, but High Hierophant Ophira steps in, telling Vord not to blame Belshells for the choice that the gods made. Vord sheaths their sword, Earthbreaker Groon pulls them in for an embrace, telling them that they will mourn what they have lost together. It would be so devastating for all these leaders in Vasselheim. You know, they've spent their entire lives devoted to their gods in this city that has been around since the gods walked amongst them. You know, I'm not surprised that there is a lot of grief and anger on display. I'm honestly surprised that there wasn't more sort of like chaos and rioting, but I don't know. As the heads of the city discussed what to do next, Dorian asks Imogen to message Opal, played by Amy Carrero, and when she does, she learns that Opal is here in the city. Dorian casts a thunderclap into the sky to help guide her, and Opal starts making her way towards the group. Meanwhile, Frida pulls Chetney aside and confides in him that they are now a werewolf?
It's just Deanna and I, and she's been great, but it happened one time, and it was FCG. I felt like every fiber in my steel body ripped apart and put together again, and then I was angry. So angry, and I couldn't understand why, and then it dawned on me that they were gone. And that anger turned to something primal. And then I didn't remember, and I woke and Deanna was there, and there were a lot of dead things around me.
Oh gosh.
I'm so happy that something came of that bite all the way back in episode 52, because I remember at the time we were all speculating about whether or not an Aormaton could even become a werewolf. Because can an Aormaton even become a werewolf? Like, what does that mean? Will it transform since it's not made of flesh and blood? Will it just like use its metal parts to make a wolf shape? I'm still so intensely curious to know if Frida had any like physical changes when they transformed. You know, what did it look like? I wonder if they'll talk about it at all in the Exandria wrap-up. Maybe I'll have to try and remember to submit it as like a question. Frida is worried about hurting people without meaning to and not being able to control their transformation, something that Chetney definitely understands. So Frida asks Chetney to be a mentor or a guide, and Chetney, despite vowing to only work with wood...
So strange. I swore I would never make anything out of metal.
He says it would be a great honor to help Frida on this journey. Frida gifts Chetney a beautiful model of an Aormaton core. As the group are talking, High Hierophant Ophira approaches them and says there is a lot to do now. The Accord is meeting once again to discuss what to do about Ruidus and the Ruidians now that the Malleus Key has been destroyed. She asks Belshells to come and share their knowledge and opinions and escorts them back down the mountain. Frida and Deanna split away from the group with promises that they will catch up with them later. At the base of the Heaven Stair, Belshells find Opal surrounded by guards. She's still wearing the crown of the Spider Queen, the circlet of barbed vision. However, she is no longer dripping with black ichor, and she no longer has extra arms, which is great. Orym intervenes and the guards back off, saying that Opal is free to go, however she is not permitted to come into the meeting. Fern and Orym hug Opal, but Dorian hangs back.
Hi. It's okay.
It's not.
It will be. Are you back?
I'm back.
You're back?
I think so.
The last time Dorian saw Opal was when she was forced by the Spider Queen to attack her friends, a fight in which Dorian's brother Cyrus died. So, you know, it's no surprise that this is a kind of bittersweet reunion. Opal is introduced to the others and asks what happened to the gods, telling the group how the Spider Queen spoke to her and then disappeared. The Spider Queen told Opal that she would be bound to her forever and that she must come find her when she is reborn.
She told me to come look for her. Because she was gonna be reborn. And I thought, as a little baby, as a tiny, vulnerable little bug, so little, so corruptible, so unprotected. And I said, okay, I'll come find you. For Cyrus.
That's dark. Holy shit. But also, the Spider Queen put Opal through some pretty rough stuff, so I guess I can see her viewpoint. I wonder if we'll ever revisit Opal later down the track and see what happens there. The group say they'll catch up with Opal later and head inside the Platinum Sanctuary. They tell the Accord that they should see this as an opportunity for a cultural exchange with the Ruidians, suggesting that an exchange program could be established with different cities agreeing to take in Ruidian families that wish to settle in Exandria, and some Exandrians could go and live on Ruidus. Plane Rider Rin steps forward and volunteers to help with any resettlement and diplomatic efforts. Bo also points out that the Ruidians have developed sophisticated arcane technologies which could be of great use to Exandria, and Percy perks right up at that idea and he is very keen to spend some time there. Keyleth recommends that the Ashari could watch over the portal to Ruidus, just as they have watched over the elemental rifts of Exandria for centuries. Veth speaks up, saying that she's worried about how those who were involved in the Vanguard and the Weave Minds plot, could come to Exandria, but Jamon Sa'ord says they already have a number of prisoners from the battle, and since many were coerced or under the influence of the Weave Mind, there will be a chance for redemption. Imogen speaks of the common people that they saw on Ruidus, the children and families going about their everyday lives, just trying to live and survive.
Above all, the people there dreamt of a chance. They dreamt of hope. The blue dream, that's what they called this place. And we, as Exandrians, we have the chance to give that to them. To give them their home back, something that was stolen away so long ago.
After some discussion, the Accord agree to allow the Ruidians to live in Exandria if they wish, and allow for the setting up of an exchange of knowledge. Representatives from cities all over Exandria, Uncarel, Dressar, Whitestone, Byrodin, Ashanador, Amman, Zephyra, Portzun, and others speak up and agree to take refugees and immigrants in. I won't lie, this got me pretty choked up, If only we could have this much compassion and generosity from our leaders in the real world. That would be nice. The meeting comes to a close and the episode shifts into the vignettes of the characters' wishes and adventures over the coming weeks, months and years, a part of the episode which I both treasure and dread because then it really, really feels like that we are saying goodbye. The group decide to head to Dressar for a week of respite and relaxation following everything that happened, but before that there are a few things for them to do in Vasselheim. First, Orym seeks out Plane Rider Rin, finding her working with the leader of the Ruidian Volition, Rashina, on the resettlement plans. He asks her for a private moment and apologizes for what happened to her during their infiltration of the Malleus Key. He asks her to pray with him to the Wild Mother, wherever she may be, and as the two pray, Orym places Rin's hand on the blade of Seedling, relinquishing his hold on the blade and attuning it to her, and as it attunes, vines and tendrils grow out of the blade and form into the shape of a new arm. Rin brushes away the vines, and underneath her arm has grown back, which she is quite pleased with. Thank goodness the group found Rin on Ruidus. She is just such a delightful character, and given that she's a planeswalker, I'm really hopeful she's going to pop up in some other, campaigns or side quests and stories. Meanwhile, Lordna and Imogen visit Leavetel at Raven's Crest. Lordna asks for some guidance about what is ahead for her, because even with the matron's departure, she still feels out of sorts in the world, existing in this liminal space between life and death, and she's scared about what the future holds for her.
I would love, more than anything, to age alongside the one that I love, if she'll have me. Feels like a fraught wish that many think that they want long life, to never die, to live for eternity, but having been in that limbo, in that in-between space, to age is a gift. And I don't want to be left behind.
Give me your hands, ladies.
Mine too.
Yes. And as you hold your hands together, the three of us linked, I squeeze both of your hands and I look into Lordna's eyes and I use divine intervention.
Does it still work?
I don't know.
Oh, fuck.
So that she will age and die the same as Imogen Tamil.
A sourceless golden thread now binds its way through their hands and fingers. Both of them held together, wrapped. A little bit of a cold shiver runs through your sternum and down your back, while a flicker of warmth travels through yours. And with that, the string burns bright and then scatters into ash.
Oh, this is another bit where I just get so choked up. The angst we have felt about Marisha creating yet another character that was going to live forever and be left behind by her loved ones. I'm just so happy that Imogen and Lorna just get to have a happy ending together. That they can grow into two little old ladies together, you know, just after everything they've been through. They deserve it. I also really loved Lorna's perspective, you know, that aging is a gift, because it is. The older I get, the more I try and hold to that, because not everybody gets to grow old. Every day that I grow older is another day I get to see my kid grow up, and I get to kiss my husband, and I get to just enjoy life. Growing old is a gift, despite capitalism telling us otherwise and trying to sell us hundreds of dollars worth of skincare. Imogen and Lorna, who are basically married now, they're wives now, they're married. They go and visit Liliana to ask what her plans are. She's feeling quite lost and isn't even sure if she'll be allowed to go freely given her involvement in the Vanguard's plot. Imogen asks Liliana if she will go and see her father, Relvin, and Liliana says that she owes him at least a conversation. Dorian also has a visit to make, and seeing his home, the Silken Squall, in the air above Vasselheim, he rides Coriolis up to it and seeks out his mother. As soon as she sees him, she wraps him in the biggest hug and he breaks down in her arms, releasing the sorrow and the guilt and the anger that he's been holding on to since his brother died.
Do you think it's possible to start over? To start new? Even though you've made terrible mistakes? That led to... And he just can't finish his sentence, and only his brother is on his mind.
My sweet Bronte. All it takes to start again is to wake up one morning and decide to.
As she cradles him, Dorian breathes in her breath and holds it in, since he can hold his breath forever, and falls asleep. Look, Robbie was very coy about returning as a regular cast member in the tailgate.
I got so much stuff to do, guys. I'm so busy.
We will start a formal campaign.
Stop it some more.
You're never
leaving
this building.
I don't think Robbie's going anywhere.
But I am hopeful that he will, because I think he is just such an attentive, nuanced, and clever role player. He just always seems to know how to get to the emotional heart of the story in a way that I really admire. And I don't know, I just feel like I learn something every time I watch him that, you know, I can attempt to use in my own role playing. So yeah, add mine to the thousands of voices crying out for Robbie to stay. Please. The group reconvene, ready to head back to Dressar, and Breas takes this opportunity to apologize to the group for betraying them, and almost betraying them, and confesses his fear about baby Asmodeus growing up and killing him. Despite some teasing from the players, Belzhel's reassure Breas that he is one of them and they will have his back. Frida joins them for their trip to Dressar, and the group spend time revisiting places around the city and seeing old friends like Judana, who has a new boarder, Prism, who is played by Emily Axford. Unfortunately, Emily was unable to be at the rescheduled filming, which is devastating. What I would give to see Prism and Judana interacting, I just feel like it would be really fun. They also see Pretty at the Soot and Swill, and Ashton takes Frida to the Crook House to meet Milo and Annie. They reminisce about FCG, and Frida looks through their old things, finding a crescent-shaped microchip. Frida doesn't know how to use it though, and Ashton suggests seeking out Imahara Joe since he knows a lot about automatons. Ashton asks Milo to help patch up the new stone and crystal inside their head, and after they share a toast to FCG's memory. Meanwhile, Oram and Dorian are spending some time together, and in one of the hanging gondolas that traverses the spires, they discuss their future.
If you'll allow it, I would love to...
Okay. Yeah.
Love you and take care of you and spend my days and my nights with you.
Okay.
Can I ask one thing of you?
You know it's not what I'm the best at.
You can ask anything.
Can we take it day by day? Can we see who we become together?
I adore the way Dorian just said yes, no hesitation, knowing that Orym would support his need to just take it one day at a time. I just love them so much. Orym asks Dorian to come to Zephyr with him, and the two look forward to their freedom together, free from the responsibilities of saving the world. Until the level 20 Bells Hells one-shot, that is, which hopefully we will get one day. On their final day in Dressar, the group gather in the Spire by Fire, and Laudner uses animate objects to bring the tables and chairs to life, recreating that fateful combat back in episode 1 where they all met. The talk turns to their plans for the future. Ashton says that they want to travel the world and see everything and see things that no one has ever seen before. Fern asks if she can come with him, and Ashton replies yes, but not yet.
I'd love to be around you. I love every moment around you. You are fun, and you are dangerous, and hot, and funny, and probably going to get somebody killed, probably me. And I am down for whatever. I'm happy to be a friend. I am happy to be a friend with benefits. I'm happy to see what you want. But what I need is for you to want. I think I need you to be thoughtful about it. I think that's what I would ask, is take some time and be thoughtful.
I like that.
Yeah.
That's a deal.
I mean, like, if you want to, like, go fuck around right now, though, I'm so fucking down.
No. I need to sit alone and think about it.
Then Orym, Dorian, Fern, and Opal, the OG Crown Keepers, return to Zephyr, where they are greeted by Orym's sister Maeve. As they move through the city, they hear some off-key singing, none other than Dariax, Matt's character from EXU. Apparently, ever since Dorian left, Dariax has been staying in Zephyr, trying to make a name for himself as a bard, without a lot of success. They don't get all that much time to catch up, though, before somebody else shows up, Amy's other character, Denise.
Are you going to tell them how we were pre-engaged?
We were pre-engaged.
Oh my God. Left me. All alone.
To be completely honest and clear on this, I did not leave you. I just got lost for 6 months.
Okay.
I had intended to come back.
You did?
It turns out that the two don't actually have great chemistry, and everyone is just kind of left wondering why they were pre-engaged to begin with. I found this so funny, the idea that she, like, chased him down to the ends of the earth only to be like, oh, actually, I'm kind of not that into you. Orym invites them both to the family reunion later and leaves them to bicker and pack up Dariax's instruments. The group go to see Keyleth, who is very happy to see them. She says that she's been taking some time off to rest and is sort of leaving everyone to bicker in Vasselheim about what happens next. Orym thanks Keyleth for having faith in him, and she replies that faith isn't something that is given, it is earned, and he earned it. Orym says that while he still wishes to serve her and be the savior blade, he's gotten a taste for travel and adventure, and he's hoping that he can continue to serve her on the road. She says it would be an honor. Orym tells Keyleth that he won't have to serve her alone, taking Dorian's hand.
For the longest time, I've walked under the light of the moons. But I think it's time I spent some time with the sun. In the clear blue sky.
I just know Will is looking down on this and smiling. That is if Will is even in the afterlife anymore. We don't know what's going to happen to the souls that have been, like, shepherded already to the gods' afterlives now that they're gone. Maybe he's already been reincarnated. This was such a perfect line. I mean, Liam just knows how to deliver them. It was beautiful. They share a drink with Keyleth, and as they leave, they see some Ruidian children being shown the sights of the city and the flowers. We move now into the years ahead. Chetney is excited to be a mentor and travels with Frida to the Gorgonai and returns to Uthadern, where he sees his old workplace, Ultgar's Chest, thriving under Ultgar, and he learns that Ultgar has created an apprenticeship program called the Pokapi Path. Chetney continues to enjoy the renown of being the greatest toy maker in the world. Unfortunately, we don't learn any more about PopCon, but I'm hopeful that maybe we will get like a one-shot or something there. Fern goes back home to the Feywild, where she begins to train as a fate stitcher under Nanamori, who is happily courted by Ira again. Ira tells Fern that the Unseelie are looking for her since she killed Zathuda, a juicy little loose end that, you know, maybe will get picked up later. Orym and Dorian also visit Fern, and Orym is confronted by Nanamori about the deal that the two made.
I can't keep you all safe coming back from the moon. What are you talking about? That's entirely up to you. You get yourselves killed, that's your own fault.
There's no deal. You're fine.
Oh my god, what a relief. Honestly, if Matthew Mercer had made Orym leave Dorian and come and serve Nana Mori for eternity, I think I would just have to, like, delete this entire channel. Dorian and Orym continue to travel together and sometimes separately, and Dorian in particular loves getting into trouble and pulling his friends into the trouble with him whenever he can. Ashton also visits Fern and the two go on adventures together. Fern in particular wants to try and help Opal to work out how to take the crown off, and she also wants Chetney's eggs. With some sleight of hand rolls, Fern manages to acquire 3 of them over the years, but 2 still evade her, and the cast joke about doing an Easter egg hunt one-shot. Ashton spends some time with Essek figuring out the Dunamancy aspects of themselves, and although the Bright Queen sends invitations and offers, they manage to evade them. Ashton then works as a hired hand and specializes in retrieving lost artifacts from old temples, and they spend their days traveling both Exandria and the Moon. Braius, following his fright with the Lord of the Hells, pours himself into his artwork and starts holding exhibitions all over the place, including at Jester's gallery in Nicodranus, where the two form a friendship. Braius asks Jester about the Traveller and meets him one evening while painting. And Imogen and Lorna spend some time in the lake town helping the Rowidians settle on Exandria. They go back to Dressar to find FCG's coin, and then finally they get to settle down in a little cabin in the Talent Highlands at peace. Lorna crafts and Imogen cares for her horses. I'm just getting so choked up. And Imogen visits her friends in their dreams.
But I visit our friends when they're sleeping. I find them in their dreams. And we're still together.
Jester and Ford continue to plan their wedding. Oh wow, I've really lost it now. Jester and Ford continue to plan their wedding and consider getting married on the Moon. Caleb prepares an escape plan in case he and Essek are pursued by the Bright Queen, and Caleb and Bo continue to research Ludinus and what his future plans might be. One day, Caleb scries on Ludinus and sees him making some tea in a small home in the Shattered Teeth. You know, maybe he's pulling a Thanos and he's content now to just like live out his days now that his grand vision has come to life. Or maybe he's just resting before the next plot. Who knows? As they continue their work together, Bo tells Caleb she's actually going to take some time off as her and Yasha have been talking about adopting, and so she wants to spend some time at Veth's summer camp to see what this whole sort of parenting gig is about. Grog decides to go to the Moon where he meets Gaz Tomo.
Hey, I'm a Crimson Officer of the New Criviran Republic. Gaz Tomo. What's your name?
Gaz Tomo, I am the Grand Poobah the Doink of all this and that. Gregory Strongjaw.
I fucking love it.
He takes your handful on like...
This is a partnership I hope we are going to see lots more of in the future. Scanlan pumps up Serkonos, telling him he doesn't need jokes and fancy one-liners, he just needs to be himself. So Serkonos goes to visit Leaftail, who happily takes his hand and leads him to her boudoir. Percy and Vex begin to prepare for the children taking over their roles, especially as Percy, as a human, is getting older and is looking to retirement. He's particularly interested in having Gwendolyn run a spy network designed to seek out the gods once they are reborn, but Keyleth cautions to let it rest, and in fact when she senses a god being born, she does not tell Percy. As Percy gets older, he and Vex spend more and more time together in their many lavish holiday homes. Scanlan visits Pike soon after everything that happened, and you know, these two just can't quit each other.
I think the best time that I ever had was with you. And I do want to go on adventures and have more of a life together. But I tried, and it's not as good without you. I've got a really strong back. And I could carry you off to some more adventures before we hang it up.
There's such a huge part of me that wants to say no. But God's damn it, I still love you. I love hanging out with you. We have the best time.
We don't have to be married again.
No, we don't.
We could just be...
We don't. I'm gonna give it...
Cool pals.
Shut the fuck up.
Okay.
I'm gonna give it 6 months. Let's do it. Let's just travel. Let's just get our minds off of things and have a good time.
No labels or anything.
No labels.
Do you want to be a centaur too?
Yeah?
There we go.
All right. I cast 9th level True Polymorph.
I cannot wait for the Pike as a centaur fan art. It's just so silly. There was almost this look of regret on Ashley's face when she said, yes, I do want to be a centaur. A week or so after the events in Vasselheim, Keyleth hears a knock on her door, and when she opens it, standing before her is Vax.
She is out there somewhere, waiting to be found. And it is still my duty to carry out her will. But that duty now brings me home. I am home.
Forever. Or are you gonna leave again?
Nothing could ever make me leave again. Could we start over?
I have been lying in wait, in a perpetual stasis. It's felt like falling and never knowing when the ground will come. I think I've been waiting for my devilish rogue with wings to catch me again. I would love to start over.
Begin again.
But it will have to be a beginning. If that's okay with you.
Every good story needs a start.
Okay, I lost it when Lordnet and Imogen got their happy ending, but I am telling you, I really lost it when these two got their happy ending. Keyleth has just been so scared for so long and has closed herself off from so many things because she knew she would be left behind by her friends aging and dying, but you know, now she gets to be with Vax, who is also going to live basically forever, and the two can be together forever, and they can look over Vex and Vax and Scanlan and Pike's kids and take care of Grog in his old age, and I don't know what else to say. I'm very happy and emotional. And with that ends the era of reclamation and is the end of campaign 3. Oh, I'll pull myself together. You know, I think it's really hard to explain to people who don't watch actual plays, like, the truly profound impact these stories can have on us. You know, the nail-biter combats, the clutch nat 20s, the vulnerability that this incredible cast share with these emotional and, you know, sometimes dark and hard moments. And I don't know, the way these stories can just get us through some really tough times and how hard it can hit us when our favorite characters fall or go through suffering and trial. I'm just so grateful to be in this community with the people who like really get it, you know, who understand how powerful collaborative storytelling can be. Thank you so much for going on this journey with me over the last 3 years. Oh. For sharing all your theories and favorite moments and, you know, everything in the comments. And thank you so much to the cast of Critical Role and everybody there for sharing these incredible stories with us. Thank you. All right, I'm gonna go drink a cup of tea and try and like decompress from this emotional roller coaster. Oh, and also prepare for the Divergence miniseries, which starts this week. Like, we're just getting straight into it. There's no downtime. So I will see you all super soon in the next video. Thank you again. Bye.
Good night, Belle's house.
Oh. Good night, Mighty Nine.
Good night. Good night,
I'm
Moon.
Terry and Terry!